Hey, good morning. It's Uncle Lou here. Yeah, that's right. It's me, Uncle Lou, live for you.
Whoa! Tired, Woo! Whoa, wait a minute, Woo! Whoa, tired, Woo!
Good morning. It's Uncle Woofer here, and thanks for watching live on WooferTube. I just tell WooferTube, live on WooferTube. Alabama Woo, this video takes 30 seconds, Woo. Whoa, tired on that, Woo. This video takes 30 seconds to do it, Woo. Watch, I show you, Woo. Watch this. Alabama's going harder than many games they're playing. And Nick Saban, Bear Bryant, no team standing a chance against that, Woo. Nick Saban, Bear Bryant, we got 17 titles, Woo. We got 17 titles, Woo. Now, whoa, tied on that. How every minute we play, and All right, here we go. The team preview for the 2018 Alabama Crimson Tide, defending national champs. If you're new around here, subscribe to the channel. I post college football videos almost every single day of the year. Some of them are even watchable. Give this video a thumbs up if you're an Alabama fan or if you're excited about the start of the college football season. I would appreciate it. That was 90 proof for Luther. You'll see plenty of him throughout the season. Don't worry. But he's a handful. We can only handle him really in small doses. But he will be back. Don't worry. Rest assured. Okay, Alabama last year, this isn't going to take long to wrap that up. Only loss during the regular season was to Auburn, right? Jalen Hurts played the entire season. I told everybody who would listen he was a terrible quarterback all season long. Alabama fans argued with me all season, tried to tell me he was elite, blah, 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 on and on and on. I told them they were wrong. They don't know what they're talking about, never seen a football game, yada, yada, yada. They lose to Auburn into the year. They don't even make the SEC championship game, which Georgia won. Then they beat Clemson in the first playoff game after 30 days of rest and getting some key players healthy on defense. Beat Clemson, faced Georgia in the national title game, beat Georgia in overtime on a last second pass, second 26 pass. You've seen the hashtags and the memes, second 26, they're everywhere. They benched Jalen Hurts at halftime, bring Tua into the second half. Tua has a good second half, leads Alabama to a come-from-behind victory over Georgia in the national title game. So, everyone knew what the biggest story was going to be this offseason in all of college football, and it hasn't disappointed. Who's the starter going to be for Alabama this year? Jalen Hurts or Tua Tagovailoa. I'm sorry if I'm saying the name wrong. Obviously, I don't speak pineapple, but you know who I'm talking about. This has been an interesting, to say the least, offseason for Alabama with the quarterback situation. You've had Jalen Hurts' dad make some controversial statements about his son being the hottest college football free agent in history if he decided to leave Alabama, which is not true at all. I can't think of very many teams that would want Jalen Hurts as a quarterback. And if you listen to his dad and more recently to him, that's all he wants to play. He'll be the next Tim Tebow if he goes to the NFL. He'll never start an NFL game at quarterback. He just doesn't have what it takes throwing the ball. Nick Saban walking a tightrope here with Tua and Hurts. Doesn't want to lose Hurts. He has to know Tua's a better quarterback. I have a feeling he'll probably let Hurts play some in the first game against Louisville to sort of appease him, and so he can say, "Look, I didn't lie to you," or whatever. Maybe he's already told Hurts. I don't know. But at some point during this season, whether it's the first snap of the first game, the second series of the first game, the second quarter of the first, whatever, at some point this season, Tua is coming into the game. And you'll never hear from Jalen Hurts again, in my opinion. Tua is just obviously a better quarterback, and of course Alabama fans agree with me now. Last year tried to tell me I didn't know what I was talking about. Turns out Uncle Lou was right, and the Gumps were wrong. But that's what happens when you spend the majority of your life watching NASCAR and suddenly become a football fan in 2009. So congratulations, Alabama fans, for that. All right, what's going to be the strong suit for Alabama this year? This is weird to say, offense. I've said this over the offseason. If you've been paying attention to me, I think Alabama could have one of the best offenses they've ever had under Nick Saban this year. They had some good offenses, put up some points when Lane Kiffin was their offensive coordinator. But in terms of talent, I think this might be the most talented Alabama offense we've ever seen. And that's bad news for the rest of college football. Alabama has really been on cruise control for the last decade or so with a dominant defense, pretty good run game, and game managing type quarterbacks. Tua, no game manager. Now, I do think we need to see more out of him than one half of a football game to get an accurate representation of how good he can be. But I don't think anybody would argue that it looks like Tua has the potential to be the best quarterback that Nick Saban has had at Alabama. And that's scary if you're a fan of any other team not named Alabama. They returned 4 of their 5 starting offensive linemen. They returned both tight ends. They do lose Ridley at the wide receiver spot, but they got a ton of talented freshmen. They got, Jerry Jeudy, is that his name? Devonta Smith. So they're loaded with talent at the wide receiver position. Look at running back. Najee Harris comes back. He's got a chance to, if he goes for 1,000 yards this year, it'll be his 3rd straight year at 1,000 yards. I mean, it's bordering on not fair with the offensive talent that they have. That's Damian Harris. Behind him, you have Najee Harris, and you got 2 other guys behind him that are, capable, more than capable. Alabama's offense is going to be the real deal. Defensively, we don't really know. A lot of question marks. Now, Alabama has had no problem with a plug-and-play approach over the last 5 or 6 years, 7, 8 years, really. They put a ton of people in the NFL. They lose a ton of seniors to graduation, a ton of starters. They're just able to backfill it with more talented players. And that could very well be the case this year. However, they do lose all 6. They lose their top 6 defensive backs from last year. If you're looking for a weakness on Alabama's team, you better hope that the defensive secondary is that weakness, because if not, it's hard to find another one. Losing your top 6 defensive backs, not easy to replace that. Both your cornerbacks are gone. Both your safeties are gone. You do have that one guy, Thompson, who got 2 starts last year because somebody was hurt at the end of the year, but he technically was a backup last year, so he'll be a full-time starter for the first time this year. You'll have 2 brand new cornerbacks. One, you got a transfer from LSU, and then you're probably going to have to play that true freshman, Surtain Jr. that you got. Now, this guy's got all-world ability, and I say this about Georgia players, I say this about every team's players, until you see somebody do it on the field on a Saturday, it's hard to feel 100% confident in what you have with them. So we'll see. I have a feeling that Bama's going to have no choice but to throw this guy into the fire week 1 against Louisville. This Surtain Jr., 5-star cornerback they picked up, he'll be playing a lot. If he doesn't start by the first game, he'll be starting very, very soon. You'll see him in the first game, I'm sure. He's got too much talent to ride the pine. So if you're looking for a weakness on Alabama's team, you better hope that their defensive secondary doesn't come around. Not really any other weaknesses. Even inside at the middle linebacker position, which really hurt them last year with injuries, really all across the board at linebackers, inside and outside, particularly inside. They get those 2 guys back this year, Wilson and Moses, elite players. Not a whole lot of depth behind that, though. They've struggled with injuries, these 2 guys have. If they go down, any injuries at the inside linebacker position could be an issue for Alabama. Look on the outside, it's a similar story. Well, last year it was. This year, that's more of a strength, I think, with their outside linebackers. They'll be fine. Of course, they lose Deron Payne, who was all-world nose guard, ate up a lot of blocks, freed up a lot of space for other players to make a lot of tackles and a lot of plays. They got a couple of different guys they're looking at to fill that position in. I don't have any question that they'll be able to find at defensive line a strong suit of Alabama under Nick Saban since he got there. Really, defensive tackle, you got those 2 guys. Is it Davis and Buggs? I think it is. You'll have them defensive tackles. You'll be okay there. You got to get the nose guard situation figured out, and you got to hope that your defensive backfield can play up to its potential. I mean, it's got talent-wise, it's got potential to be one of the best in the nation. But you're replacing your top 6 guys from last year. Don't get in the comment section and tell me that your defensive backfield is going to be as good week 1 as it was at the end of the year last year or halfway through the season. I mean, it's just not. The guys just don't have the experience. Can they get to that point by some point in the season? Maybe, and I'm sure we'll find that out. But they're not going to be that way right off the bat. All right. Let's put the schedule up, I guess. I mean, you know how we do this. If there's guaranteed wins, I'll tell you. If there's guaranteed losses, I'll tell you. If there's toss-ups, I'll tell you. This is kind of like Georgia, Clemson, Ohio State, Oklahoma. I mean, Alabama's going to be favored in all 12 of these games. Double-digit favorites, maybe in every single one of them, right? What you're really trying to do here is okay, if Alabama's going to stumble and fall, which week might that be? I'm just going to go ahead and put a bunch of wins up right now. These are all wins. There you go. You're beating Louisville. You're beating Arkansas State. You're definitely beating Louisiana. You're definitely beating Arkansas. You're definitely beating Tennessee. You're definitely beating the Citadel, and you're definitely beating Auburn. That leaves a few games for a potential landmine. Now, do I think that any of these teams left over on here are better than Alabama? No. But the point is, it's hard to go undefeated. Even if you're Alabama, it's hard to go undefeated. You guys have gone undefeated one time since Nick Saban got there, even though you've been dominating college football for the better part of the last 10 years. You've gone undefeated once. So chances are you may stumble somewhere along the line here. Week 3 at Ole Miss. Now, they're on probation. They can't play in a bowl game. They got a new coach. They got a quarterback they love, though, that can run around. And if there's one thing we know back from when Ole Miss beat you guys a couple of years in a row before, that can present a problem. Combine that with the fact that you're still going to be breaking in that defensive secondary in Week 3 here, and it's on the road at Ole Miss. This is a potential stumbling block. You're miles better than Ole Miss. Get out of the comment section. I know you're already in there right now with the type, how there's no way you're losing to Ole Miss. And I understand you saying that. But like I said, if I just say 12-0, have a good day, and walk off, that's boring. You got to try to find some losses here somewhere. Okay, if you haven't seen the Georgia preview, I predicted them to have a loss too. I'll put a link if you want to check it out. But I hardly ever pick a team to go undefeated in the regular season. I do think Alabama should be the #1 ranked team heading into the season, and I'm sure they are. So I'm not knocking you at all, but looking for a loss maybe. Texas A&M. Can Jimbo Fisher do anything with Texas A&M in year 1? I think he can. I think it'll be an immediate improvement over Kevin Sumlin. I'm not convinced that Fisher is that much of a better coach than Sumlin, but Sumlin was a terrible fit at Texas A&M from the beginning. It just never worked. There was a certain segment of the Texas A&M fan base, alumni and boosters and so forth, that never accepted him for reasons that should be obvious to anybody that has been paying attention. I'm not going to get into those here, but it was just a bad fit. He's gone. You bring Jimbo in. He's won a national title. Yeah, it was with Jameis Winston. Yes, 20 of the 21 starters or 20 of the 22 starters on that team were NFL players that went on to get drafted. Does he have that at Texas A&M? No, but I still think it'll be an improvement over what was there before. Is it enough to beat Alabama in Alabama? Probably not. I mean, between Ole Miss and Texas A&M, I would probably give Ole Miss a better chance to beat Alabama than I would Texas A&M. Louisiana win at Arkansas, one of the worst teams in America. You'll steamroll them even though it's there. Missouri. Now, Missouri's probably got the best throwing quarterback in the SEC in Drew Lock. This guy's going to throw for 4,000 yards. They spread you out. He's going to throw it 40 times a game. Their defense is terrible, or at least it has been the last couple of years. Even if it's improved this year, I don't see it being improved to the point where they could even slow down Alabama's offense this year. Even if Missouri comes out and lights up Alabama's defense through the air, I still don't see how they're able to stop Alabama enough to take advantage of that. So it's hard to see. It's hard for me to imagine Alabama slipping up there against Mizzou. At Tennessee, one of the worst teams in America. Yeah, they got Jeremy Pruitt. Who cares? Hardly anybody. Charlie Brown of college football. Yeah, you got to play them there. There ain't no home field advantage there no more, is there? No, Georgia beat them 41-0 there last year. So don't even worry about that. You'll get an easy win. Bye week before LSU. You know, you used to could count on this game every year for being one of the most must-watch game in college football. Just not the case anymore. They haven't beat y'all play every year. They haven't beat you since like 2011. Ed Orgeron doesn't know what he's doing. He's in over his head. This is a huge coaching mismatch here. You do have to go there. To me, that's sort of negated by the fact that you have a bye week heading into that game. Unless Burrow, that quarterback that LSU got from Ohio State to transfer in, unless he is lightning in a bottle and takes the SEC by storm, and I can't see LSU compete. They don't have a single running back on their roster that's ever scored a college touchdown. I can't imagine you losing that game. Mississippi State, if this was on the road, this would be a tough one. You struggled against Mississippi State last year. A fourth quarter win, one-score win over Mississippi State last year in Starkville. Of course, they play in Tuscaloosa this year, and there's one thing we know about Tuscaloosa: no cowbell there. Mississippi State might be the second best team in the SEC West. It's very possible. Nick Fitzgerald, he's the real deal. I would say that's probably the second. Ole Miss and Mississippi State now, as I'm going through, are probably the two most likely places for a loss. You'll be favored big in both of them, not saying you'll lose them. The Citadel, what is that? Easy win. You're not South Carolina, so you'll beat them. You know, Citadel owns South Carolina. Beat the bejesus out of them a couple of years ago. Embarrassing for the SEC. And then you end up with the Barn. Now, some people think the Barn's going to be good. Barn fans think they're unbelievable. Yeah, I mean, you know, of course, they got mental issues. But you get them at home. I mean, I can say the same thing about the Auburn-Alabama game that I said about the Georgia-Alabama game. Gus Malzahn can't win big games on the road. The guy's 1-4 in bowl games, right? His only win in a bowl game is in the Birmingham Bowl. Can't win in Atlanta. The SEC championship game lost to the one-handed man in a breakfast bowl that nobody watched on New Year's Day when losing to Central Florida. Lost on the road at LSU last year. Lost on the road to Clemson last year. I mean, so I can't see Auburn beating you here. I just can't. Plus, they'll have one player injured the last game of the year. They'll have one player injured, and they'll get beat by 100 points and blame it on the fact that they have one player injured. It's the Auburn way. It's just what they do. I'll be honest here. I see 12-0. Why is my alarm going off now? That's about to irritate me now. Good morning, though. It looks like 12-0. I mean, it really does, right? If I had to pick two games to look out for, it would be at Ole Miss and home against Mississippi State. If I was going to pick one of those, this would be a huge upset here. I would say at Ole Miss is the most dangerous game. If your secondary is still figuring out what's going on at that point and the TAMU guy is lighting it up, this has the potential. Look, they can't play in a bowl game. They can't go to the postseason. They can't win the SEC. This is their Super Bowl, okay? You come into their house, that's their Super Bowl. If Bama loses a game, I'm marking it down as week 3 at Ole Miss. So for the purposes of this video, I'll put you at 11-1. Comment section down below. Type.